Good morning, everybody. Silas back again today. I have got a crazy busy agenda over the next couple of days. Right now, you may have guessed it, I'm digging out my old Dodge and I'm getting it started. I haven't started that thing in quite a while, so the battery's completely dead. Well, not completely, but it's pretty low on it, and it's not enough to start it, so I've got it jumped right now. I was gonna bring my Gulu out and do it, but I forgot to plug it in and charge it last night, so I'd have to charge it, then bring it out, and so I think it's quicker just to hook the jumper cables up, wait about 5 minutes, and it'll fire right up. The reason why I'm getting the Dodge going is I've got some big stuff that I need to haul into the shredder. I have not been to the Claw in a long time, and I don't really want to take the nice truck into the Claw. I'd rather take the old work truck. You just never know what's going to pop up and hit your truck. You never know what's going to fall off the load when they're unloading it with the Claw. I don't want to take the nice truck in there. I did it one time, and I probably won't ever do it again. I know I bought the truck to work, but I didn't buy the truck to haul scrap to the Claw. I've got the remnants of an old dump truck over here that I stuffed full of junk a while back. If you watch my videos all the time, you'll remember it. I'm going to haul that in for sure. I've got what's left of that T-top. I think it was a Regal or whatever it was over there. I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. There's no reason to keep that, or it doesn't weigh anything, so I'm not going to carry it clear out back and put it in the pile. And then in addition to that, I've got an old dump truck at the other yard that's too big to fit in the dumpster. Here's what's left of this dump truck here. This thing's been here forever. I don't even remember what cab was on this now, but it's kind of in the way. I want to get it out of here. Same thing with that dump truck over at the other yard. It's just in the way and I want to get it gone. At some point today, they're supposed to bring me a dumpster. I've got a bunch more scrap out here laying around that I want to get rid of. And then that whole area up there by where my truck is parked, we've got to get that whole area cleaned up because they're bringing out some fuel tanks to set that we can fill up with fuel. The guy that's actually doing it all is the guy that rents from me. He got a contract for the co-op to put the tanks out here and all that. But one of them is going to be diesel, so I'll have permission and I'll have access to the code to get into it. But they have to put them up there, so I've got to get rid of everything up there and make plenty of room for them. So that's today's agenda. Let's get to work. Well, she lives. It's going again. Hasn't been hooked up to this trailer in a long time. It's been not quite a year. I think I used this a bunch last spring, so it's been about 8 or 9 months. There we go. It is ready to go. Kind of an ugly load, but it'll be all right. It ain't that far to go. All right, guys, I'm hungry, so I want to take a quick break. I'm here at the Junkyard Cabin. I want to tell you about today's sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by HelloFresh. HelloFresh makes dinner time so simple, you can cook it in a cabin at the junkyard. They have 40 fresh weekly recipes to choose from, and the ingredients travel from the farm to your doorstep within 7 days. What's cool is you can customize the meals to your liking, like you can swap around proteins, things like that. And I personally, sometimes I split the ingredients in half if I'm just cooking for myself. And while we don't eat these meals every single night of the week, on those crazy nights when there's 30 million things going on and we're in a hurry, HelloFresh's simple meals only take about 15 or 20 minutes to prepare, so it makes a great solution for those times. They're healthier, tastier, and they're actually cheaper than fast food, and they're delivered right to your door. For me personally, these are great meals to bring out to the cabin with me since they're so simple. So if you want healthy and affordable meals delivered to your door, go to HelloFresh.com and use code AMFS65 for 65% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com and use code AMFS65 for 65% off plus free shipping. Now my delicious dinner is gone, so I guess I better head out. And with that, you can kind of see why I didn't want to take the new truck in there. That was a disaster getting that unloaded. I guess he didn't realize it was a dump truck or something, I don't know. But he got it, and it didn't break anything. I thought for a minute I was about to lose a couple tires, but it made it. You guys may remember the guy that used to run the claw, kind of the older gentleman with the big white beard. He actually passed away last year. They found cancer in him, and he left for a little while, and then he came back again. And it was towards the end of when I was hauling stuff over there the last time, and I asked him, I said, man, why are you back in here? And he said, well, what am I gonna do? Just sit at home and do nothing and wait? And I said, well, I guess I can kind of see your point. So he actually worked right up to the end. So that's sad and unfortunate, but what am I gonna do about it? There's not a whole lot I can do about it. So that being said, I'm here at the yard now. I'm gonna get that other dump truck, I'm gonna load it up, and I'm gonna go back down there one more time. I'm going to save some of this stuff I pulled off of cars. This here is a 5-speed bell housing off of a T5 out of a V8 Camaro or Firebird or something like that. And then a while back I pulled a bunch of stuff off of the truck, stuff that I know is worth money, just got to find the time to sell it. But some of the stuff is pretty easy to ship and package, stuff like the temperature controls, the radio bezel, even the radio itself. Really, it's mainly just this instrument cluster here that'll take forever. So honestly, I'll probably just stash that and then go ahead and list these for sale. Here's another piece here. This is actually the bracket that goes on the back of the radio, or actually it's kind of more like this, and it goes up on the dash and kind of holds the radio in place for support. These things here are surprisingly valuable. Definitely a shame. Good running 361, but what do you do? Can't save them all. That's a good looking load right there though. Just sits nice and level. That last load was definitely an ugly one. And there we go. I got this thing ready to go. Figured I'll throw this in the box. This just came in the other day. Not much good left here. It was sitting in the guy's field behind his house, and he was inside the city limits, and they got on him, so he had to get rid of it. So I just saved the fenders off of it. I figured somebody will want those in the seat just for yard art or some sort of art project. So I saved those. They're not real cool fenders, and it's not a real cool seat, but I figured still, there's, you know, probably $100 there. They were super easy to pull too. And then of course I pulled the radiator off of it. It does still have a carburetor on it, but I don't feel like unbolting it. And it's probably only a $15, $20 carburetor, just not worth my time right now. I'm just trying to get stuff done. They didn't bring me a very big box. The box they brought me is one of the real small boxes, so I can't get much in there. It's actually, by the time I put that tractor in there, it'll be just about full. I can probably get a little bit more in there yet. So what I'm thinking is I may go ahead and get rid of this tractor. I kind of hate to do it, but you know, it's been advertised for sale for a long time and nobody's bought it. This is the tractor from that auction where I got those semi-trailers and that big yellow winch truck. All this thing needed was some distributor work, and I think it needed one new wheel. Yeah, I think, yeah, this wheel here, maybe it's that wheel over there, is completely rotted out, and of course the tires aren't much good either. I mean, it needed some work, but I had it advertised for $1,000, and the only offer I had was a guy offered me a, he wanted to trade me a rifle for it, and it's like a $300 rifle, brand new, so definitely wasn't worth it. And then another guy offered me $100 for the bucket setup off of it, which is less than scrap value. So unfortunately for this tractor, it's not looking good. So I'm thinking what I may do tomorrow is go ahead and drag this out and go ahead and just cut it off up there a little bit to where that's not quite as tall. Then I just pull that pipe out and this bucket will come down, and I'm going to pull this grill off of it, pull the radiator off of it, and I think I'm going to go ahead and ship that in, and we'll see how much it's worth for scrap. I think I gave $400 for it, $450 maybe. I can't remember for sure, but weight value, there's probably close to $700 here, plus the radiator. So altogether, there's probably between $700 and $800 worth of scrap value here. So I guess I can't complain. I've been dealing with countless, is this still available? And just tire kickers and that sort of stuff for the last 2.5 months to make an extra $200. It's just not worth it. So I think tomorrow, if they can pick this dumpster up yet today, I think tomorrow we're gonna go ahead and knock this one in the head. This cat just follows me everywhere I go out here. Friendliest cat. He is putting on a ton of weight. The guys that rent out here have been feeding him, and I think they've been feeding him a little bit too much. I see they actually put a collar on him now. The old Dodge did pretty good. That first load was really butt heavy, so I was doing about 25-30 miles an hour tops, and it was kind of wishy-washy, but I just took it nice and slow, kept it safe, got it down there. But with that, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in the dumpster, and I'll probably have a little bit more room to put 1 or 2 more things in there, and then I'll call them and tell them it's full. Hopefully they can pick it up. Well, I've got it ready. It's time for me to head out, so I guess I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, this front axle out of that tractor was saved by the bell. Mr. Good Pliers came out, or he called me this morning and said, I need that front axle, just as I was getting ready to throw it in the box. So I went ahead and set the tractor aside. He came out, I cut it off for him, and he ended up pulling the fuel tank, and he pulled the rear hitch assembly, and I forget what else, the distributor or the carburetor, just a handful of parts off of it. Then after he got done with it, I went ahead and threw it in the box. It fit right in there. There's a little bit of room left, so I'm gonna go gather up some more scrap and throw in there. But first, let's check out this little Mazda and that Chevy truck that just came in. This car here's kind of on the rough side. I mean, it's kind of beat up, but it's not very rusty. Just by looking at it from here, I don't know what the floors are like. Well, that's cool. It's got a Bennett emblem on it. That's my son's name. Regardless of what I do with this car, if somebody buys it or something like that, I'll have to go ahead and save that. Yeah, I learned to drive a standard in one of these. It was a little bit older than this. I can't get the door to open, but yeah, it's a standard. Mazda RX-7. You just don't see these in the scrapyard very often anymore. So maybe I can find a home for it. Maybe I just wind up crushing it later. I don't know. We'll see. Kind of a crazy deal on that one there. When he drug it out of the trees, the exhaust fell off of it. So he had the converter with him, both of the converters off of it. And those ended up actually being worth quite a bit of money. I didn't expect that. Usually on old stuff like that, converters just aren't very good, but that actually was, so that helps pay for the car. This old truck here isn't too bad. It's got a little bit of rust. I really like this hood ornament. I don't know what it's off of, but it actually fits it pretty good. So it must be off something of this similar era with that similar shaped hood. Got a little bit of damage here in the front of it. If I can get the hood open, it's got a real clean 235. He said it was running perfect not long ago. And it looks pretty good, and it still turns good, so I have no doubt that it would run pretty easy. It's got the typical crunch right here where the door opened too far. They sell that as a patch panel though. And then it's got some rust down here in the cab corners. The inside isn't too bad. You can see they've patched the floors with sheet metal, so I'm sure it's going to need new floors, but it's kind of neat. You can kind of see here how it's got that old brick barn tin for floor panels. It's got a Warner brake setup on it. That's kind of neat. And it does have a 2-speed rear end. It's got the deluxe heater. Looks like they've changed out the glove box at some point in time if you've got a chrome one in there. But yeah, not too bad. I mean, I've seen better, but I've seen a whole lot worse. The other cab corner is about the same as this. And then it's got a little bit of rust up in here. If I can get it to focus. There we go. Yeah, it's got a little bit of rust up in there, but not horrible. So yeah, I think I can probably sell that cabin clip. I did get a title for this one as well. Somebody might want the whole truck. I did bend the drive shaft. Unfortunately, it's impossible for me to unload those things. I mean, I can roll them off the trailers, but I mean, very rarely do I sell these trucks complete, so it's really not worth the extra effort to save the drive shafts. So I just pick them up and call it good. It's not that hard to get a drive shaft made, so I never really worry about those. But yeah, I would sell the whole truck, but I think somebody will probably just buy the cab and clip off of it, especially with that title. Something like this here, for the cab and front clip, I would probably do around $1,500. For the whole truck, I would probably do more like $2,200 with that good clean motor in it. If I sell the cab and clip, then I'll probably sell the motor separate. The motor, if we can get it running, will probably be like $1,500 by itself. If the motor doesn't run, just as a turnable core will bring about $800 to $1,200 online. Sean has sold quite a few of those on eBay. He knows how to put them on a stand, get them running. He checks each cylinder for compression, does the whole 9 yards. So he goes over and pretty thorough, makes a video of it, and so that's why he's able to get the premium prices out of those motors that still run. There we go. I finally got this engine out of that burnt, rusty cab. I sold the nose off that truck a long time ago, so I went ahead and finished ripping the cab off so I could get to the motor. And this is a 1956 Chevy 265. It's got an adapter on it. These are actually a fairly common adapter back in the day, but they adapted to where you can put a small block Chevy in an old Ford truck 4-speed. Unfortunately, this belt housing is pretty rough. It's pretty corroded, pretty rusty. I don't know if it's any good or not. I'm going to go ahead and pull it off just so I can see if the engine will turn with the bar. The engine has oil in it and it had antifreeze in it, so I think it might turn, but I can't get it to turn with the fans. So only way I can really tell for sure is if I pull that off and put a bar on the flywheel. Well, I don't have my ratchet or my impact, and I don't feel like taking those all off super slow with a breakover bar, so I didn't bother doing that. I did put the breakover bar on the front of it though, and I can't get it to turn. I'm guessing the cylinders are probably stuck a little bit. It's got clean oil and it had antifreeze in it, so I bet it would turn if you dump something in the cylinders, dump it in the spark plugs. But I just went ahead and took some pictures of it as is, threw it online for $300. I think it's worth that. Nice ones of these that still turn and everything are about $1,000, so I mean that's a third price because it doesn't turn. Worst case scenario, it'll make somebody a good block, and blocks go for about $300, so that's why I priced it at that. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that aside. I got the dumpsters loaded. What was left of that truck's in there, that tractor's in there, a little bit of other stuff's in there. There's not much room left in that box. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take my truck and my trailer. I'm gonna back my trailer up in there where that teal 58 or 59 Chevy truck was, and then I'll unhook the truck, park it off to the side, because next week I'm going to have to take the skid steer and go do a cleanup, and I don't want to haul the skid steer on the Dodge. I want to haul it behind the Chevy. I've hauled the skid steer behind the Dodge before and it struggles. I've hauled the skid steer behind the Chevy before and it doesn't even know it's behind it. It's getting pretty late now. I had a ton of people come out here. I left my gate open. I shouldn't have left my gate open. People stop in and want to chit chat. And so I've spent probably 2.5 hours a day talking with people. But anyway, there might be a guy here in the morning to pick this truck up. If he doesn't show up to get that, then next week we're going to make a video of ripping that apart with the excavator, because it should be going next week sometime. And then I'm going to take it and we're going to send it on into the scrapyard and see what it brings for scrap, which actually I already know what it's going to bring, but nobody else does. But he might show up and buy the whole thing, so we'll see what happens. So I'll wait to close this video out until I know for sure if he's coming or not. I'll see you guys in the morning. Well, good morning. I'm back out here. That truck over there, kind of unfortunate. His wife told him no, he can't have it. So he backed out on the deal. I've got another guy going to be here in about 30 minutes to buy the wheels off of it. Sometime next week, if I get time, I'm going to come out here, finish processing it, and we're going to ship it on into the shredder. But that's all going to be a separate video. We are done with this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I know I had a ton of fun. Stay tuned for the video on that truck there. I'm going to make a cool video about that. Actually, later today, I've got to go pick something up that's really cool. Now, I'm probably not going to make a video of picking it up, but I'm going to record everything I do, and I'm going to include that in a really crazy idea. When I saw this on Marketplace last night, I had this wild idea in my head, and I think I really want to do it. So if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe because there's some cool stuff coming. And with that, I'll let y'all go. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Remember to get out there and find yourself an adventure. We'll see you next time.